So aggressive.
Smell what?
Hey, it's Sophie, and welcome to POVz.
Now that you're here, let's start a group text. Exchange numbers, add me in, and make sure to always keep an eye on our group text.
Okay, so exciting. How about we just like pass phones around or something? Or Wait, this is mine.
Many phones.
In just a sec, we're gonna send you some rapid fire hot takes from our community to help each of you get to know each other better. But before we get into the hot takes, please introduce yourselves, where you're from, and without revealing too much of your stance, share why you're passionate about today's topic. Hi everyone, I'm Kemi. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, born and raised there, and then I moved to New York for college. And I think I'm passionate about this topic just because I feel like fame, or people who do possess fame, play a large part in society, and they play a large part in just like my everyday life, and I consume a lot of content from like famous people per se. So that's why I'm passionate about it.
I'm Jacob. I'm from North Carolina. I've lived here for like going on 3 years now. My reason for being here, my passion about the topic is, I guess, like it's so prevalent in our society today, and we all probably take in a lot of media, so like the conversation is there waiting to be had, I guess. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
My name is Anne-Marie Gaidosh. I'm 25, born and raised in New York City, and I've been working in entertainment for about 5 years now. And I'm excited to be here because I think when we talk about fame, when we talk about celebrity, there are so many different opinions on it. And I think a lot of people strongly despise celebrities, and I think it's a really interesting psychological question. So I'm interested to kind of explore why that is and see what everybody else's perspectives are.
I'm Alexis. I'm from New Jersey, but I also moved here for college. I guess I'm passionate about today's topic because I love pop culture, everything around pop culture. I feel like I'm constantly consuming that kind of media in places like TikTok and like Instagram and everything like that. And I also just think it's really interesting to see sort of the tie between, I guess, political responsibility and fame, and like what people with their platform do and how that sort of affects all of our lives.
We're so happy you're here. Now let's get into the hot takes.
Exciting.
Here's how it works. When you see a new hot take in the group text, someone read it out loud and everyone agree or disagree. Only rules are you can't discuss anything related to today's topic. You ready? Let's go.
The more meaningful the commonalities, the better. I actually disagree with this. I think it's better when you have different perspectives because then you can learn more from each other. So I think it's better to have a lot of differences because then it's something you can talk about. If you all have the same things in common, then what is there to talk about?
The Office is boring.
The Office isn't always boring, though. I feel like The Office isn't always boring, right? Oh wait, the show. Are we talking about the show? This whole time
If it's the show, I agree. I think The Office is overrated.
Okay.
I've
not
never
a fan.
seen it, so can't disagree or agree,
Stop.
really.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's boring. It's like not my favorite. I'm not like The Office.
Yeah, like a diehard fan.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll watch it and be
That's funny.
entertained. McDonald's fries is better than anywhere else's fries.
Agree.
I agree.
Okay, yeah.
And the
I
McDonald's
agree.
app will give you a $1 coupon on Fridays.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
get into
know,
it.
I used it. It's really good.
But I think they changed the recipe for the fries.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're
Why
not
do you
as
think
salty
that?
anymore.
Oh,
I read
okay.
something online, yeah.
Okay, that's probably good though, right? Like, we
Yeah,
actually don't need all that
maybe.
Not for
stuff.
my taste buds, but
Am I gonna be crucified if I ask who Alex Earl is?
I don't know
Oh,
who
well
that is.
then, we know your answer to that one.
Okay.
Is I don't understand the hype around Alex Earl. Agree. I get it, but like, she just like sits and does like story times while she does her makeup.
Mhm.
And she goes to U Miami, so it's about party girl lifestyle.
Okay.
And like, I get why it's relatable and entertaining,
Yeah.
but also like, the cult following is like a little beyond my understanding.
Timothée Chalamet is not a great actor. He's okay at best. I don't understand the appeal aside from people thinking he's good looking. My best friend will actually kill me for reading that out loud.
Disagree.
You think he's a great actor?
Well, he got nominated for like an Oscar at like, what, 23, 24? People have only seen like, I don't know, Lady Bird, where he's maybe not putting on his best performance. But yeah, I think he's great. I think he's really good, actually.
I don't think I've seen a single thing he's in, I'm not gonna lie. What
That's
else is
fair.
Maybe
he
you
in?
have and you just don't remember.
I feel like I remember
Yeah.
his face though now, right? I
That's
feel like he has
true,
a
that's true,
distinct
yeah.
like
Yeah.
face, right? Like
He's
that
got
kind
the
of-
smolder.
Yeah.
I saw him in Call Me By Your Name. That was like my introduction to Timothée Chalamet, and I was like, taken with the love story.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I just find it to
I'm
be
a
really
fan.
forgettable. I don't know. I
Just
think
his performances.
yeah, I just don't think there's anything special.
Silverware is weird. How are you gonna eat?
Yeah, I disagree.
The statement is weird. What am I supposed to use to eat?
But I guess it is like a cultural thing, right? I know in a bunch of different cultures, like they just
Oh,
use,
like
their
if you're
hands.
eating chicken tenders or like a hot dog, then
True that.
yes. I'm all for silverware. I support
Same.
silverware.
Cashews are the superior nut.
Agreed. Strongly agreed.
Oh no.
I like pistachios. Really?
No
They're
comments.
so versatile.
I did. Honestly, I'm biased. I don't like nuts besides cashews.
I don't like
That's
I
the
don't
only
like
nut
nuts
I
at
like.
all,
So.
yeah. Referring to women as birthing people sounds cringe and dystopian AF.
I kind of agree that does scare me. I feel like if someone came up to me and was like, birthing person, get away from me.
How would you use that in a sentence?
I feel like, why would you? I don't know. Part of me feels like anyone who is calling someone a birthing person, like, I just feel like there's no way that comes up without it being like sus. And
Yeah, I'm interested to see like in what context
Yeah.
people are using that.
Uh-huh.
Because I know people use this kind of phrasing and language to be inclusive of people who aren't cis, like when people say people who menstruate.
Yeah, in the back of their mind, I still think there's a
Mhm.
lot of people who do believe that like women are here to give birth. Like
Right.
that's like,
And that is not.
that's not true.
I do
Yeah,
not
that's a
agree
good
with
point.
that.
Like women were designed because
Right.
they're birthing people. Like, you can tell when someone only views a woman as like,
Yeah.
you're only here because like on the planet because you're supposed to give birth and like keep it pushing. You can acknowledge that a particular influencer or public figure makes a lot of good points without supporting the person.
Agree.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that, for sure. I feel like that goes for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, even, like, people you consider, like, super horrible. Like, there's not a person who's just, like, every minute of their life they're horrible, right? Like, there's, like, good things, or maybe someone you don't agree with, like, a majority of their statements. Every now and then they might say something that's, like, okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense, right, in
I
general.
feel like me as a person, I'm like looking for that. I'm like, I don't enjoy you, but I'm like looking for something that I can like.
Relate to you.
Yeah, to make them more human.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm loving the conversation, but now let's take this to the next level.
Without overthinking, reply with a yes or no to the following question.
Is fame it?
I'm overthinking. I don't have a yes or no.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already overthinking.
Okay. I said yes, maybe, because I do truly believe that fame gives people power, right? And I don't think having power is inherently bad, but it's just kind of what you do with that power and also why you want that power. And so I feel like with fame comes like a lot of opportunities to like change things, like create social awareness. You guys were also talking about like the cult following that Alex Earl has. And it's even that where it's just like if a famous person does have that cult following, you can, and it kind of sounds like psychologically a little fucked up, but it's just like you can influence a lot of people and you can influence them for good. It doesn't have to be like just influencing them to buy like a blush or something. Someone said no with a little heart. So,
I did. Well, I do think I was thinking about it like a little bit differently than you guys, but like I think it is like an interesting slippery slope because yeah, you have like an audience that gives you a level of power and you can theoretically do very good things with that, but then you could also do like very not so good things. Like think about people like Kanye West and like who is that absolutely crazy guy that lives in Romania that like got all those guys to think
I don't
that
say his name around
women
my
are the
phone,
worst.
Yeah.
Like, right, like that is like super scary. While I like love, for example, like what Beyonce is doing on her tour, like giving like a voice to a minority community to express themselves and to have a platform when their platform is being taken away. I'm like, fame should not be the end all be all of making that change. So I say no because of that, but also just because like there's a lot of toxicity that comes with fame. Like if you like look at what happens between like Hailey Bieber and like Selena Gomez and like having so many eyes on you and having to almost like perform for the public, like that sucks.
I think you raised a really interesting point about like what fame actually is, because there are different levels of fame. Like there's celebrity fame, there's internet fame, and even the change makers that you mentioned, they might be famous in their field, So I think it's just an interesting question about what kind of fame would somebody want, and what is a good amount of fame, and then what can you do with that platform.
Even like it goes beyond just like not being able to just like step out in public if you're at that level of fame. I think especially with like social media now and just like the mass amounts of hate that you can literally just like, you can open your phone, go to like your DMs, and it's people being like, are you gonna kill yourself today or do we have to wait till next week type of thing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You didn't even do anything. People just woke up today and someone's mad.
Like, you're just trying to text your mom and someone's telling you to end your life. And I think that's why, like, when people talk about fame, I think people really need to take it with a grain of salt, because that's not for everybody, for sure. And I think that's something you need to know about yourself. If you want to like cry, like when someone says like, oh, I don't like your shoes, you probably shouldn't be famous, because they're gonna come at you way harder. Like, it's just kind of like the reality of it, I feel like. You know, Bad Baby, who made, she even said like, I'm not made for fame, like this is too much, like I can't handle it. I think this is something people need to start like talking to themselves like before. I mean, her situation kind of was different because she was kind of like catapulted into it, but I think it's just something you really need to like sit in the mirror and be like, okay, like, am I mentally capable of handling this? And if yes, okay. If no, then like that's completely fine.
I think a lot about like child stars who like were actual infants when they got put on the set of a TV show, and then they grow up and they're like, I did not pick that. Like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, they were like actually 6 months old or something. But I came from this question as from the standpoint of like, is it people like chasing fame, like that is their whole life purpose, is to be famous? I studied theater in college, so like I'm pursuing a theatrical career, and some people achieve fame through that, but I feel like if you're just solely focused on being famous, like being followed by millions of people, then you're probably, because I don't see fame as synonymous with success, you know?
Yeah,
but if you're like doing
so
something that you love and then it's thrust upon you and you use it for like a good purpose, then I think it could be beneficial to the world. Like, it just takes one terrible person to find all the terrible people in the world to like follow them, and then chaos.
You can also look at it as the opposite. Like, it takes one terrible person to have a lot of terrible people following them, but what about one great person to have a bunch of great people following them and looking up to them? So I feel like you have to look at it from both sides. And it's like what you said, it depends on what you do with your platform. And I don't think every famous person has a responsibility to use their platform for social change or political well-being. It really depends on what they want to do with it. But personally, for me, that's something that I would want with fame. So I'd want to have that platform to then speak on issues that I'm passionate about and then I can get other people involved in. So it really depends.
I think that's a good point, but I also would stress that it does not take striving for a huge audience to feel like you can start doing that with your life. I also think that you could live your whole life and no one's listening to you but your mom. And if you are going out in the world and putting that good change into the world, that's all that matters. And I think that that's like kind of the person who wants to garner a huge audience to enact social change. It's like, it should not matter if, you know, nobody's listening to you at all. You should want to do this because that's something you're passionate about. Kind of back to what you're saying, it's like fame is just like this thing that gives
like a byproduct.
Yeah, like attention. Yeah, a lot of people eyes are on you. Maybe you get a lot of money, but like at the end of the day, you're not passionate about something, then it's kind of shallow.
Yeah, like going into like the film industry to be a famous movie star, like that's probably not the industry for you.
Because it takes a lot of hard work too. Like, it shouldn't be just like
it takes like passion, and you know, you gotta love it, and it's gotta bring you joy, or it's probably not your journey.
But part of me wonders, what if someone did just want to go into the film industry just to be a big movie star? Like, part of me is like, why is that a bad thing? At the end of the day, I just want to be happy in life. You know what I'm saying? So if for some person, that's what makes them happy and they're not hurting people, I feel like it should just be, I mean, to each their own type of thing. And I mean, I feel like you can question the motives. Like, why do you care to only be a big movie star? Do you just want people to look at you? Is there like a little bit of narcissism? But even if there is, like, are you hurting anyone? So does it matter per se? Like, if that's what you want with your life and you want to be adored by people just because you like feeling adored, then I mean, I guess, right? Like, to each their own, and in a sense.
And I feel like you had a fair point. You don't need a huge platform to bring about change. And I think that's something scary to stay away from, because you don't want people to feel like they need to be famous to do something meaningful. But if you do want to be famous and you do want that platform, I also agree. I don't think that's a problem. If you're not doing anything wrong with your platform, I mean, even if you're not doing anything with your platform, it's better than doing something terrible. I mean, there are lots of people who don't have a platform and they're doing bad things out there. They're experiencing hate, they're experiencing bullying. You know, there are a lot of things going on out there that I think when you're a celebrity, it's just amplified because you have such a bigger platform.
The TC community has joined the chats.
Let's bring in some real Gen Z POVs. Read the POV out loud and tell us whether you agree or disagree.
Most people who say fame isn't everything only feel that way because they know they'll never get it.
That's tea.
It is tea. It's piping hot. I guess I disagree because, I don't know, some people like aren't chasing fame and then still feel this way. You know what I mean?
Well, like, look at the Kardashians. Like, don't half of them say, I wasn't built for fame.
That's a lie.
And they're like the most famous people in the world. So.
Casually, the most famous people in the world.
I was not born to be famous.
But they like actively sought it out, I think.
Yeah,
I feel like Kim, though.
Like,
I feel like with the
just-
Kardashians, Kim was the one who really sought out. She even said, like, when she was younger, she wanted to be on, like, Real World. Like, she really did
And then she
seek it
brought
out.
the
And
rest of
then,
them in.
yeah,
She was
they
like,
kinda,
strap in, girls.
yeah,
We're
like,
going to the top.
like, she Ben said she wanted
Strap
to be.
in.
I think this is so funny, though. Like, first of all, like, imagine someone said that. You just think it's not it because you'll never get famous. Like, okay,
Right.
shit, got
Very
me,
bold.
I guess. I feel like there is a lot of people, though, honestly, who are like, no, like, fame is in it, like, you, who do secretly want to be famous. I feel
Yeah.
like that's where this is coming from. But I wouldn't say that, like, most people who say fame isn't everything, like, only say that because they won't get it. I think there are really valid reasons why fame isn't everything, like the toll it could take on one's mental health.
Yeah.
Like,
So I don't disagree with the statement, but I don't agree with it either. Like, I'm kind of in the middle as well. I do agree that a lot of people who say fame isn't it, a lot of times there is a secret desire to be famous. And I don't know if it's that they'll never actually get it. I just think there's a lot of judgment around people who are famous. I'm not always sure where this comes from because some of them they're not bad people. They're just doing their thing. They kind of just happened upon this and this is just their lifestyle now. And I think people equate fame with money sometimes, and I think that's another issue is people are kind of like, okay, well, this person has fame, they have money, they have everything, but they don't see the downsides of it as well. So I feel like that's where some of the hate comes from. I don't think it's necessarily that they know they won't get famous. It's just it seems very out of reach for people if that's not something we're around most of your life. The level of obsession our generation has with celebrities is fully messed up. Imagine spending hours posting every day about someone who will never know you exist. All right, this is an interesting one. I mean, even when I was younger, I was really into boy bands, I was into celebrities, so I understand where it's coming from. But I think some of the fascination around celebrities is that a celebrity is able to, they act like a mirror. They show like this part of ourselves that we want to embrace. And I feel like it can be good and it can be bad because we kind of learn from them and the good things they're doing, but it can also become too much of an obsession.
I also think there's like a good distinction between like the people who are obsessed with celebrities and the people who are obsessed with work. Like, I love pop culture because I'm obsessed with like movies and music and stuff. So I think that the obsession of like really diving into like people's work and understanding like, you know, the influences of that is really cool. And if you're obsessed with that and just like the craft of it, I think that's awesome. But I do think like when we start like obsessing over people and like being really into like the personal lives and like the personal information of these people who are public figures but also, you know, deserve respect and like privacy, that's where it becomes dangerous and almost like disrespectful, not only for yourself, it's like not healthy, but like disrespectful to the person. Like, they deserve, you know, what they want to be public and what they want to be private. And I think that's where we start getting a little hazy and like kind of on the negative side of things.
Yeah.
My thing is like, is this something that's unique to our generation? Like, I feel like did celebrities just come about? Like,
I just think the
have they
only
always
big
been
difference is like our access to
Exactly.
information is
Exactly.
like more than we've ever had before. Older generations associate that with our generation and they're just like, oh, they know all of One Direction's blood type because that information is like available to us. But I totally agree with you. I don't think it's like just our generation.
Yeah, I think it's also just more so in the media now. Like, we didn't have as much news coverage, media out there before, and I think now, because we have so many more mainstream platforms, it's just always out there in a way that it wasn't in the past.
Yeah.
The Nepo baby conversation is insanely overblown and unnecessary. That's just how the world works and always has, TBH. I mean, look at presidents or business leaders or honestly any other industry. I think this is an interesting take when Nepo babies say that they have no privilege by being a Nepo baby. I'm like, oh my God. To be so blind to your privilege and to speak that to the masses who do not have the privilege that you have, to have grown into the success and fame, whatever, what have you, like, is almost disrespectful. Kind of like the comment that Kim Kardashian said about like women need to work more and stuff like that. I'm just like, are you so tone deaf to like the privilege that you have? That's just what it comes off as, just tone deaf.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when like the Nepo baby conversation comes about, I feel like a lot of times people just want these people to acknowledge, kind of like you said, like their privilege, like just recognize that you kind of, you know, you did get like a head start that other people don't. And like, we're not trying to say you don't have to work, because I mean, I guess life is work, but acknowledge how like the work you have to do may differ from the work someone else has to do.
I don't doubt that anyone that's like a Nepo baby has to work hard, but when they get to where they're going, I don't doubt that someone's there like holding the door open for them, you know?
Yeah.
They don't have to like push their way through.
Exactly.
But I don't think the conversation's like overblown and unnecessary. It is a necessary conversation to have, I feel. And it's like posed some good points.
I bet Kim Kardashian has a very packed day, like back to back to back.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I have a packed day and I'm making like 16 an hour.
Yeah,
like you're going home with millions. It's not the same.
Like, yes.
Yeah, like what the hell?
You're both working, but one of us is sweating.
Exactly, right? I think that when TV series and movies hire non-disabled actors to play disabled characters, it's like hiring white actors to do blackface. Just outrageous. Yeah, I actually agree with that. And I think that this is something I hadn't thought of really previously, just because conversations around it like weren't really being talked about as largely as they are now. But I definitely think it's time to like stop casting people who can see to play blind people, stop casting people who don't use wheelchairs to be in wheelchairs. Like I definitely do think you can relate it to like it being blackface. Like there's people out there who literally live the lives you're trying to portray in your movies, and they can act just as well. So it's time to start bringing those in.
I don't agree with this slippery slope of comparing any issue to like our racial dichotomy, especially here in America. But I definitely agree that there is something wrong with not hiring the people that are actually within a community to represent that community on screen.
I think there's so many different actors out there, so much talent, and I really think representation is so important in media. And I think like growing up, people should be able to look at the screen and see someone who looks like them in whatever movie they're watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
They did a revival of Oklahoma the Musical, and one of the main characters was in a wheelchair. And that's not like written in the script, but it gave an opportunity for someone who's in a wheelchair to be like, oh my God, I can be on Broadway in a musical.
So important, yeah.
I think adding this diversity to the screen is also such a new occurrence. It's only been happening like the last, say like 10 to 15 years. And I think it's something that we have to normalize. So I think until we can get to that point where it is normal to see so much more diversity in terms of like a sexual orientation, race, more of this on the screen, we need to be more cautious of like who we're casting.
Something that's been on my mind and something that this conversation has sparked is that I find it kind of problematic when celebrities will have or own companies and brands that like are historically part of specific group's culture and they don't support that specific group. So what I mean by that is like, for example, Kendall Jenner has like a tequila company. A lot of people, George Clooney has one too, right? But when it comes to topics on like immigration and stuff like that, they're silent. And that's always very, very strange to me that you're able to capitalize off of someone's culture and not care about that person's culture.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like your point was perfect. It's so unfair almost that you get to reap the benefits of, you know, this culture and you're not even at the very least going to stand up for when they're being disenfranchised. Like,
Yeah.
It's a little absurd.
So as a business, what do you think the celebrity's obligation is then?
I feel like, honestly,
at the bare minimum.
I feel like at the bare minimum is speaking up. On topics that impact members of that community. You should be advocating for the like betterment of this community. You should be advocating against the mistreatment of this community because you literally profit off of their culture.
Exactly. And it's not like we don't see celebrities doing that all the time. Like think of Lizzo, who like goes down and to Nashville to perform her show. Like she is not a part of the drag community, still is out there bringing out drag queens, speaking up against, you know, the anti-LGBTQ plus legislation there. Like, it is so easy to speak up and people are doing it. So the fact that you monetarily benefit from a group of people, you won't even be like, hey, what's happening to them is wrong. That's like the bare minimum for me.
Yeah, like just send a tweet.
Right, like it's so easy. Okay, that was such an amazing conversation and there's so much left to talk about. Let's take it one step further.
Save me a seat on the couch. I'll definitely be there in a sec.
Come on, girl.
Hey, it's Ethan Wan from the Conversationalist community. Thank you so much for watching our POVz episode on fame. The best part about TC is that we want to hear everyone's point of view, including yours. Just text the word fame to 1-877-222-1119 to get access to all things TC, and we hope to feature you on a future episode. See you next time.
Selfie. Or should someone like hold him?
Yeah, I know. That would be a little bit more awkward. We'll do one of these. Ready? 1, 2, 3.